Hey, what is going on, Twintendo Nation? Hope you're having an awesome day. Now today, a new trailer for Pokémon Sun Moon was released, and it's got quite a bit of new information. Some of the stuff we've seen in Korokoro a few days ago, but it's actually got a few new Pokemon as well. So first of all, we're going to go over Silvally, which is the official name for Type Null's evolution. It's a synthetic Pokemon, and it has the ability RKS system, or Arceus system. If you understand what I mean by that, it is quite a clever name, and it is quite funny, to be honest. Basically, if you don't know, Silvally is a man-made Arceus. Well, that's the idea behind it anyway. But anyway, it says, when Type Null gains a partner it can trust, it deliberately destroys the restraining device it wears. Once released from that heavy mask, the Pokemon's speed increases substantially. Freed of the restraining effect of its mask, Silvally's senses are heightened, and it reverts to its natural temperament. It has a wild nature, but it will obey a trainer that it trusts, and to protect that trainer from danger, it will put its own life on the line. Silvally is said to have been created to oppose a threat. At the moment, we don't really know what this is, but obviously it will become clear in the game. By inserting exclusive items into the drive on Silvally's head, its RKS system can be activated, causing Silvally's somatic cells to mutate and glow. The RKS system enables it to change its type, and its cells glow with different colours of light depending on its type. Silvally's ability is called the RKS system ability, which no previous Pokemon has ever had, although it is very similar to Arceus's. By having Silvally hold items that correspond to each Pokemon type, it can change its own type. Multi-attack is a move that only Silvally can learn, and this move's type changes based on which type related item Silvally is holding. Again, incredibly similar to Arceus, and there's also a few kind of links between Mewtwo and Genesect in this description for Silvally. Obviously the one with the mask, when obviously Mewtwo had the mask on in the anime, and then once it had it off it was much stronger. And also the fact that it can insert drives into Silvally's head also makes it seem like Genesect. So it seems to be a combination of every single artificial Pokemon we've had before it in some way or another. Really looking forward to having Silvally on my team. I know a lot of you guys are. It's definitely one of the best Pokemon we've seen so far. But anyway, let's move on to the next new Pokemon. So next up we have Jangmo-O's evolution, which is called Hakimoto, and it's a dragon fighting type, and it says when Jangmo-O evolves into Hakimoto, it breaks from its fellows and begins to live on its own, to train itself. Wherever it can find Pokemon to battle against, it seems to appear. Hakimoto dances before battle to show its strength, clanging its scales together to make them ring out. When the dance reaches its climax, Hakimoto bellows a fierce war cry to challenge its opponents. Its scales make for fine armour, so Hakimoto doesn't worry about self-defense, as it makes multitudes of strikes and overwhelms its opponents, but as a result, its scales often become damaged and get torn off. They grow back immediately, so this does not cause Hakimoto undue concern. In fact, it views the number of lost scales as proof of how ferociously it has fought, and it brandishes its bared arms in a boast of victory. So Hakimoto definitely seems to have a high defense, and I'm guessing obviously its evolution will as well, which we'll go over right now. So Hakimoto evolves into Kumo-O, and again this is a dragon fighting type, and the description for this is, at the end of its harsh training, Hakimoto evolves into this overwhelmingly powerful form. It returns to the land of its birth where it watches over the Jangmo-O from a distance. So it seems like Hakimoto goes off to train and fight to become strong so it can evolve and then come back to protect over its kind of children, or the other species of Jangmo-O, which is a really cool idea. I really like the sound of that. It says there is a legend that says Kumo-O is covered in glittering scales in order to drive away a great darkness covering the world. The reason these Pokemon seek out battle is to gain the power needed to defeat this darkness. When it detects someone approaching, this Pokemon rings the scales on its tail to announce its presence. It has no desire to battle against weak Pokemon. Kumo-O's greatest move is the uppercut. It swings its arms up from below in a punch of great skill and force, sending its foe flying into the sky. I'm not sure if they're on about sky uppercut there, because that's definitely a move. It says by raising its arms aloft, it can generate a force powerful enough to change the face of the surrounding landscape, so a pretty powerful Pokemon. Clanging scales is a move that only Kumo-O can learn. It scrapes the scales covering its body against one another, attacking with a great clamour. After using this move, Kumo-O's defense is lowered, so it sounds like a really powerful move since obviously its defense will be lowered. And again, it sounds like it has a very high defense because obviously you can use this move and still hopefully have a good amount of defense after it's been lowered to obviously keep going in the battle. So Kumo-O is a cool Pokemon. I'll probably get one of these on my team. It's definitely a Pokemon that sounds really, really strong. But anyway, let's move on to the next Pokemon. So next up is Cutiefly's evolution, which we'd already seen a couple of months ago, called Ribombee. Now Ribombee collects flower nectar and pollen to make into balls known as Pollen Puffs. These serve as food, and what's more, they can also cause effects like paralysis or dizziness. Ribombee may use puffs to strike their opponents during battles. Some of the pollen puffs that Ribombee makes also have relaxing effects or can relieve tiredness. These are distributed around the Alola region as high-priced supplements. Ribombee hate getting rained on. They are covered with fluffy hairs that hold the pollen they've gathered, and the rain makes them wet and dirty. Alolan people know that if Ribombee are busily visiting the fields of flowers, you can be sure that the fair weather will continue. So Ribombee is a bug fairy type. I'm not sure if Cutiefly was a bug fairy as well. I think it might have just been fairy type. So Ribombee seems quite interesting, and I'm not sure whether Pollen Puffs will be an actual move or maybe just an item you can buy around Alola. So guys, let me know what you think of these evolutions in the comments below. But anyway, we're going to move on to some more new Pokemon that were shown off in this trailer. So next up, and a Pokemon I didn't really see evolving, was Bonsweet, and this evolves into Steenie, and this is again just a grass type Pokemon, and it says the calyx on Steenie's head is harder than Bonsweet's, so Steenie no longer worries about being stabbed by other Pokemon, which sounds quite violent to be honest. As Bonsweet, this Pokemon may have preferred to run away from others, but now Steenie and other Pokemon can play together. Upon evolving, this Pokemon's fragrance becomes even more delectable, but it also gains a tomboy-like personality. Living together with one is quite the ordeal. As it moves around, it spins its calyx, striking nearby objects, but Steenie couldn't care less. Steenie unleashes combo moves using the calyx on its head and its hard legs. First it smacks opponents with the calyx on its head, and when the opponent flinches, it lands a whacking great kick that usually does the trick. So that is Steenie's description. I'm not sure if it's going to have a specific move that hits it multiple times, because obviously it talks about that combo move at the end. Personally, I really like Steenie, and unfortunately it has an evolution that I'm not a big fan of, so we're going to go over that one now. So Steenie evolves into Serena, which, let's be honest guys, if you're a fan of Serena in the anime, this is the closest she's going to get to Alola. And Serena has the nature of high class nobility. Any Pokemon or human that approaches it with evil in mind will be punished forthwith. It even turns its fearsome glare upon its own trainer if the two of them are not fully in sync, or if its trainer orders it to use a move that will be ineffective. Only the strongest of Steenie are able to evolve. When this happens, the Steenie evolves with the blessing of other Steenie. It then uses its strength to protect the Bonsweet. Serena is a high-kicking virtuoso. It has honed these skills beyond the level it achieved as a Steenie, and it attacks with graceful movements. At the same time, its fragrance mesmerizes its opponents, dealing them a secondary attack. Trop Kick is a move that only Serena can learn. It lowers an opponent's attack by showering it with blazing hot kicks in a style similar to that originating from tropical countries. It's said that this Pokemon loses its strength if touched on the crown-like protuberance on its head. Some Serena have the Queen Majesty ability, which no other Pokemon has previously had. The effects of Queen Majesty are so intimidating that it prevents opponents from using priority moves. Very good ability. So Serena, I prefer Steenie's kind of form, but Serena as a Pokemon is a very good one, and probably one that a lot of people will have on their teams. Now the next thing I'm going to talk about is Alolan Grimer, which we saw in Korokoro the other day. So we got a description about it finally. It is a Poison Dark type Pokemon and has the ability Poison Touch or Gluttony. When the population of the Alola region increased, dealing with their garbage became a serious problem. As a solution, Grimer were imported from other regions. They fed primarily on garbage, so their body composition changed, as did their form. What appear to be teeth in this Pokemon's mouth are in fact residual toxins from the garbage it eats, which have hardened and crystallized. No method has been discovered to break down these crystals. Direct contact with them presents a danger. Alolan Grimer is always eating garbage, but its constant hunger will cause it to begin eating other manufactured objects if it runs out of garbage to feed on. There are more than 100 Alolan Grimer in Alola's garbage processing plants, and all of the garbage produced in the Alola region is taken for use as their food. I really like the backstory for Alolan Grimer, especially about the teeth, how they're basically not really teeth, but they are as well, so very cool. But anyway, we're going to move on to Alolan Muk, which finally got shown off in the latest trailer. So Alolan Muk is basically made up of a few colours and actually kind of changes throughout the battle, which is really cool. Alolan Muk eats whatever is in reach without pausing, and if it feels the sharp pangs of hunger, it runs amok. Not gonna lie, that's a really terrible pun, but anyway, it's thought that its voracious appetite stems from an ability to maintain its energy levels without a constant influx of toxins. Toxins have accumulated in Alolan Muk's body from its steady diet of various waste products and manufactured materials. This accumulation has brought about a chemical change, producing a new kind of toxin. Alolan Muk has the same poisonous crystals as Alolan Grimer, but they're not limited to its mouth. They extend from all over the surface of its body. Alolan Muk used them to attack, just like other Pokemon use their fangs or claws, and these highly toxic crystals are easily knocked loose, making them extraordinarily dangerous. The Grimer and Muk in the Alola region produce and store their toxins within their bodies. So unlike the Grimer and Muk in other regions, you won't detect any unpleasant aromas when you draw near one. So Alolan Muk, again, a pretty good design. Let me know in the comments whether you will be using an Alolan Muk or not. And finally, we're going to move on to some of the new trainers that were shown at the end of the trailer. So first of all, we're finally given a glimpse at a new Kahuna, and if you don't know what a Kahuna is in terms of Pokemon Sun and Moon, basically they're people who are head of the islands, and there's only going to be 4 of them. And the one we already knew beforehand was Hala, who is kind of the old man professor, and he is the Kahuna of Melee Island, and I'm pretty sure he also owns Tapu Koko. But anyway, Olivia is the Kahuna of Akala Island, the second island you visit on your island challenge. Her skill is extraordinary, as can only be expected from someone chosen to serve as Kahuna at such a young age. Apparently she's 14, which is pretty crazy to be honest. Yet she still insists that she is just a normal girl. Now it looks like she has one of those bracelets for Z-stones on her right arm, or technically her left, so maybe she doesn't have a deity Pokemon like Hala does, because I'm pretty sure he has Tapu Koko, so maybe she just has a Pokemon with a Z move. But to be honest, I'd be quite surprised if she didn't have one of those Pokemon with her, like Tapu Koko. I'm pretty sure she'll have one of the others. But anyway, let's move on to the last piece of information we got in this trailer, and this is a new trial captain who I'm pretty sure is the first one, called Ilmia. They're an expert in normal type Pokemon. Captain Ilmia graduated from the trainer school and is a hero to the students of that school. We still don't really know its gender. It's not really a big thing, to be honest. It just still doesn't mention it, so I'm guessing they're trying to go for an androgynous kind of trial captain. So yeah, I think that's pretty cool. I really like Ilmia's design, and I'm just really happy with everything we got in this trailer. So guys, if you're excited for Pokemon Sun and Moon, definitely give this video a like. It's always appreciated to support the channel. And if you're new around here and you want to stay up to date with everything Pokemon Sun and Moon and Pokemon Go, then hit the subscribe button down below. Anyway guys, thank you very much for watching. Let me know in the comments below what was your favourite moment from the trailer. And yeah guys, I will see you on the next video. Peace!